My name's Bill Childs. I'm a member of the Dorset Field Club here in Dorset, Vermont. And I'm here with a group of our senior players who meet every weekday at 1 o'clock to play paddle. We'll go around the room and let them introduce themselves and tell us where they're from originally. And then I have some questions to ask them, and we'll have a little discussion about paddle in the old days. So we can start right here with Ferg.
Fergus Cochran from Dorset, Vermont. First played over across the border in Cambridge, New York with Gordon Ashton. Carl von Riesenfelder and I lived in Shushan, and we came here together to play. It was a half-an-hour trip from New York State to here, and we just loved it, and I've been here ever since.
Jolly good.
Dick Freeman from Westfield, New Jersey. I started playing in Westfield on the one court that was not weatherproof, and we shoveled snow off it and then did our thing.
I'm John Plus. I learned to play here in Dorset and enjoyed it every day.
I'm Charles Ames. I come from Fairfield, Connecticut, and I started probably 45 years ago and put 2 courts into our club down there, which was the Brooklawn Country Club. And as I recall, the price for the 2 courts was $5,000. So you can see what the difference is today. I played for about 40 more years, but I'm 85.
Got a plug in. Good. Hal?
Hi, I'm Hal DeBona. I live formerly in New Jersey, where I first played paddle tennis in 1954. A friend of ours had built a new house in Hohokus, New Jersey, and he included, amongst other things, a tennis court, swimming pool, and a paddle tennis court. None of us knew what paddle tennis was, and we quickly formed a club of 16 members and began playing in earnest. It led to even greater increase in terms of people who wanted to play, and in 1960, for the first time, we sent 6 men's double teams to the national championship in Westchester County. It has been something that's been an integral part of my life, and I have been playing for 57 years, and I'm just so glad that I had the opportunity to do so.
Larry?
I'm Larry Kukachka. I'm from Port Jefferson, Long Island. Certainly paddle is not a game that is well played a great deal on Long Island. I learned to play when I came up here about 12 years ago, and it certainly has been a very important part of our winter activities.
Dave?
David Bumgardner. I'm from St. Paul, Minnesota, which would be a great place to have paddle, but we didn't have a paddle court out there that I knew of, which didn't mean it may not have existed. But I also, like Larry, when we moved up here, got on a paddle court at 1984, and haven't left it since.
Jim?
I'm Jim Anderson. I first played paddle when I joined the club here in 1994. I went to Chatham, New Jersey High School, and there sure wasn't any paddle there back then, I can tell you that.
All right. Maurice Warner from Long Beach, California. We had paddle, but it wasn't platform paddle. And we didn't play in coats or jackets or anything. We played in our bathing suits. And that was in 1938, 39. Thank you.
John?
Yeah, I'm John LaVecchia. I started playing in New Jersey in the 60s. And like Charlie, I think I built 2 paddle courts in 1968. And I'm not as clear on the price as Charlie, but I'm older than he is. and been playing here now for 10 years. I should point out that on the champion board here, Hal DeBona is the first recognized champion in 1971 and repeated in 1972.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that you know.
I'm Walter Heingarten, originally from Garden City in New York on Long Island. First played paddle down there, and we started playing paddle by the early 60s, middle 60s. Moved up here in the 80s full time, joined the club here about 1987 or 88, and started playing on the courts here. Played ever since. Great game.
One question I had was, when you got started, were the platform tennis courts part of a club, or were they usually owned by an individual? And you, like I know you mentioned, Hal, that yours was a guy who built his own court, but the others, when you first started, were they individual courts, or did you join a club that already had a club? Well, that was here, right? Yeah.
We had a tennis
Right
club
here.
in Westfield, and it had one paddle court.
At that time,
No
when you
lights.
started?
Yes.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, this was a golf club where I was, but they put paddle in.
okay.
Yeah, we built the courts at a golf club, and in the late 60s there was a lot of building going on. I think the first time I ever played was on a private court owned by everyone who lived in Llewellyn Park in West Orange, New Jersey,
Oh, okay.
and where I did not live. But somehow we had access to that court, and it had no lights or anything, but we got to play on it.
Where we played in Long Beach, California, we had, I think, 10 courts at the high school. And it happened to be the high school where Billie Jean King went to school, and her father is still playing tennis there, but he never played paddle. And the paddle courts didn't have walls around them. And so when you played, you hoped there was somebody around to go chasing the ball, because every hit was a kill, or tried to kill him.
Yeah.
You
Different
didn't,
game though, right? I
You
mean,
didn't
from-
learn taking them off the wall, except in handball, where they had a back wall.
Okay.
Yeah,
sorry.
I played at a private court that Gordon Ashton built in Cambridge, New York. I grew up in Plainfield, New Jersey, and belonged to the Plainfield Country Club. They didn't have paddle there, but they had squash, and I played a lot of it, and I think squash helped me play paddle better.
Good. All right. How about things like, it was always a winter sport. What did people wear when were coats and ties sometimes, or beaver skin jackets, or?
How old do you think we are?
Well, hey, well,
My God, man!
when I started playing down in Baltimore, we had a guy who would come after church and just change his shoes and take off his coat. And he had his coat and tie and his dress shirt, and he played paddle. And I think that if you see some of the old pictures, you'll see people, some still with coats and ties. And I just wondered, in your era, did you have that kind of thing, or was it pretty much a casual?
Never.
Never that.
Always casual.
Oh, it was
Winter casual, because it was very new and we didn't know what to wear.
Yeah, yeah.
We
Okay.
didn't know if we should get dressed up or not.
There was no
And
uniform.
we never had a lot of women watching to make it worthwhile getting dressed up.
And you can see what kind of fashion plates we are, Bill. Look at it.
Well, this is
I mean, you're
classic. Classic.
I
lucky-
think, Bill, I
Yeah.
want to add, there
Yeah.
in the 60s and in the 70s, there were people who tried to dress distinctively for paddle, who had really wild clothes. I think I can remember watching guys in tournaments who would have, the patchwork pants and just really bright colors, and whether they were distracting their opponents or not, they wore some pretty wild things.
We always wore bathing suits.
You're out of sync.
Huh?
You're out of sync with the
Yeah,
rest
I
of
got a
us.
picture though.
He didn't even have walls on his court.
I'd just like to add an anecdote. We attended the first national tournament in 1960. And when we arrived, the defending champions were warming up. One of whom was Don McNeil, who had been Don Budge's tennis doubles partner. And they were wearing 1920s raccoonskin coat. Everyone was in awe of them. And they had a kind of confident air about them that seemed intimidating to everybody. And they kept wearing them until it was time to play. And then they doffed their coats and took the court as if they were royalty. And perhaps for the first few games, whoever was opposing them were still in awe, and they treated them as royalty. As it was, they did defend the championship, and they won it in 1960.
Hal, did they play in white linen pants too, or +4s?
He didn't hear that.
Did they play in white linen pants too?
No, there was, everybody played just whatever they wanted to play in to keep, that were comfortable and to keep them warm. There was no standard, there was no particular chic way of dressing. It was practical, it was warm.
Just like here.
What kind of trophies did they give in tournaments?
What kind of trophies did they give at that time?
None of us ever won.
Yeah.
What's a trophy?
Every Maury won something.
No, yeah, car.
That wooden thing, whatever it was.
In Long Beach for the
Next
city
question.
championships, they gave you a little ribbon.
Okay.
A blue one for first place, a red one for second, and down like
The
that.
third one was.
That was it.
Don't
yeah.
come back until next year.
Okay, hadn't changed much.
Long Island, you got
Then the other, some of the old pictures that I've seen always seems to have a group of people watching, and I'm wondering if, was it such an odd event, playing paddle, that people would come out to watch, or was this just part of the social scene? I mean, we can come out here and four of us play and there's nobody around, but in the old days it looks like there was always a group of people standing around to watch. So was this in conjunction with a social function?
In our club,
No,
it
no,
wasn't,
no
but
club.
when it was put in, that area had paddle, down in Fairfield County that
Yeah.
way. And it wasn't anything special, and there was no people watching us because, as a matter of fact, we put it in amongst the trees, so they couldn't have watched anyway.
Okay.
Bill, when we had the old wooden court here, I think we had more people around because they were all waiting to play. So
Because it was
literally-
one court.
So yeah, so
Okay,
literally
maybe
there
so.
was, there were always people around here
Yeah.
watching them play, and also telling us how to play and what a lousy shot you made.
Nobody ever watches us here.
Bill, there wasn't a time, certainly if you went to the tournaments, and New Jersey seemed to have a tournament every Saturday from, January to March, you'd get a pretty good crowd there watching those people. I mean, we weren't playing in them and we would go to them. And there were social events where you'd get a couple of clubs together and play mixed doubles, and you could get 60, 80 people playing over the course of a day in an event like that.
Yeah.
But
Okay, the rules of the game. I know there have been some recent changes. Anything dramatic from the days when you first started?
I think they had 2 serves then, didn't they?
I don't know. Did they originally?
I thought
You
so.
count the net, the
They had
nets
2
now.
serves.
Yeah.
You have a-
Two serves here within 3 or 4 years
I
ago.
don't remember 2 serves.
Was it? I mean, that only changed recently to that ball.
I'm not sure when the one serve came in.
Sometime.
Ever since I've been playing,
Yeah,
I think it's only been one serve.
Hey.
And the let cord that is now, that's the major one. How does everybody feel about that rule?
Which one is that, Bill?
A service let cord is in play.
I
You
feel
like
it's
that, or-
great. I feel it's great when I do it. I hate it when anybody else does it.
Yeah, okay.
Well, the problem with us is half of us can't get up to net to get it if it hits there and drops.
Well,
That's the difference.
okay.
Although some of us can.
Or you
You
cut
can.
balls, right? Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. There are some people here that know how to put a big spin on the ball.
Yeah.
But if the ball goes over the net and spins backward over the net again, you can reach over the net and hit it.
Yep. But that doesn't happen on the serve very often.
Not in the serve.
No.
Regular volleying.
All right. Was there much singles play in the quote old days, or was it all doubles all along?
I never saw any singles.
Never saw singles because they're bringing back singles championships now. Yeah.
We used to do a lot of singles down at the Garden City Golf Club, but it's a practice matter.
Ah, okay.
Two guys would get out and play screen and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
But Bill, didn't they play the singles on the inside court or the whole
Yeah, just
court?
like tennis. Yeah. But it's a very different game, really. Where did you buy equipment, balls and paddles and stuff? I mean, did regular sports stores carry this kind of stuff? Or did you have to get it through your club? Or
The Long Island, the Long Island Golf Club, which I saw paddle in there and played some paddle there.
yeah.
They had it at a clubhouse, with other words, the store had it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That, yeah.
We played with any ball we could find, actually, in the 30s.
Yeah.
And we played a lot of with sponge balls
Okay.
and with tennis balls. And when we played, we actually had courts on the beach, on the sand, that we played with real soft sponge balls. But there was never any place where you could buy special balls, and probably nobody had any money to buy them anyway. So
Dick's Sporting Goods in both Rutland and Albany has still never heard of paddle tennis.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
We've had great discussions about that.
Yeah.
So you get them locally, Manchester Sports downtown.
Yeah, you can now, but I was just wondering about 30 years ago, who was making them?
But we've never
Not
had
many.
them here. I don't know if Craig would ever put them in the shop or not, because it's, this year we were open till November and we were literally playing
Yeah.
paddle.
Marcraft made them years ago, and I
Right.
think maybe they were the only ones at one
Right.
time, yeah.
Okay.
But they were hard to find.
You know, Bill, this Viking rackets
Yeah.
and the Viking balls is what I imported, of course. This man who started all this was a member of the golf club on Long Island,
Okay.
Southside.
Dave Jelson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you know, the paddles were made more out of just plywood, and they were more angular. They didn't have a nice
Yeah.
curve to them.
Yeah.
Kind of
John,
like the
that's
one
a
John's
clue.
got here.
I see that.
Well, no,
I had Maureen lead me into this. That's a 1960s paddle with a very light, rattling rim and no heft to it, just plywood.
Are you willing to donate that to the Hall of Fame?
Sure, it has my initials
Yeah,
on it. They'd
right.
think I was good.
Okay. Courts were always wood in the old days, I know.
Right.
Did they have snowboards and things like that for clearing snow, or how was that handled?
Yeah, we had snowboards.
Snowboards
Yes,
always?
We had
Yeah.
snowboards.
Yeah.
Okay.
We never had snowboards.
But we just used to beat the wood decks to death because we didn't have heat underneath the
Yeah.
clubs. So consequently, you had to chip the ice off before you played, and the decks got all lousy, and then you had to refurnish the decks. And whoever decided that we ought to take second class and go to metal, it was a good idea,
Yeah.
particularly up here,
Sure.
because you have heat underneath them now.
Yeah.
It's a 24-hour type of a thing.
Were there any lighted courts?
Any what?
Night play? Lighted courts?
Echo Lake had
Yeah.
lighted courts, but Westfield did not.
Yeah. Okay.
We had lighted courts at my club.
Going back how
Yeah.
far? When?
Back in, well, as I say, that was about 45 years ago.
Okay.
We had lighted courts.
We had them
There
too.
was a lot of
We
play
had
at
them
night.
until the 70s.
Okay.
Lights on.
Had lighted.
Yeah, they were problematic, the old lights. They weren't as good as these, and they'd go out frequently and
Yeah.
hitting it. Yeah. But we had them in the 60s. I don't remember any club with unlighted courts
Yeah.
in the 60s.
Okay, then some sort of esoteric things. And what role does paddle play in your life today? And that sort of, do you use this as an excuse to get out of the house? Is it a chance to socialize? Is it just another outlet to help you keep fit? How do you look upon paddle?
All of those.
All of those. Okay.
Exquisite torture.
Okay. Good.
The winters in Vermont are long, and without paddle, you'd find a lot of people at this age group that would say, what are we going to do today?
Okay.
And this gives us an outlet, and there are people here that we like and don't like, but we put up with everybody.
It sure beats an exercise bike.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
And some wives are anxious to get us out for a
So
couple
they
of
encourage
hours.
it, yeah.
Speak for
they're
yourself.
very much encouraging.
We can
I
also
like the
solve
idea,
many of the
sure.
world's problems.
Yeah, we do solve a lot of the world's problems that are in between games.
Well.
Larry's absolutely right.
I understand.
There are things that if we passed on to Washington, a place like that, would straighten a lot of this mess right out.
Okay. And that sort of leads into what other sports do we do besides paddle? Everybody ski, everybody play indoor tennis. What happens?
Ski, fly fishing.
Ski, fly fishing in the
Fly
winter?
Huh?
In the winter?
Yeah, you
Fly fishing? Well,
can.
not ice fishing. Fly.
No, fly fishing.
Okay.
I ski in the morning and play paddle in the afternoon.
Okay.
Snowshoe and play paddle.
Yeah, I snowmobile.
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 Yeah, I
In
heard
fact,
about
there's a
that.
physical therapist nearby. Held my neck
At
after.
the end of this, we have a little segment for anecdotes. You can,
Yeah, I don't want to tell about the last one. I've been doing it for.
We set the cable too high, that was the trouble.
You were just plain lucky. Huh?
And I'm here, you're a lucky man.
Okay, then. Well, and then if it suddenly became unavailable for whatever reason, how would that affect you? Would you become depressed and
Have to chase women.
Probably
chase women?
Chase women, that would be the answer. I mean, that's better than this, actually, if we can't catch them.
Yeah.
That would be the problem.
That isn't a hint of something, is it?
No. No. Okay.
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 I think it would create a void in most of our lives.
Yeah.
Yes.
We find hard to fill.
Absolutely.
without a question.
Sure. Good. Alrighty, that sort of winds up the questions, unless does anybody have stories or anecdotes they want to contribute? Hal, you mentioned at one time when I was speaking to you, your neighbor, I think you mentioned his name was Kaufman?
Pardon?
Your neighbor in New Jersey.
Yes.
Was it Kaufman?
Klopman.
Klopman.
Yes.
And he built a court.
Yes.
And I thought you told me it was grass.
No.
Oh,
Well,
phew.
not quite.
Oh, okay.
His father and mother bought a house in Monmouth, New Jersey, right near the water, 1936.
All right.
And they built a platform, not a paddle tennis court that Maury's been talking about,
Yeah.
platform tennis court surrounded with the wire, and the deck was bent grass. He was 15 years old, Bill Klopman Jr. at the time, and apparently just he and his brothers and friends there went crazy over this game. They had never heard of it. So he was in the war, came out, and he was determined that when he built his first important house, he was going to have a platform tennis court. And that's what he did. And it's interesting because you have played at the Indian Trail Club. One of the first 16 members in 1954 was Joe McBride. And he and his two brothers owned a huge, huge development in Franklin Lakes called Urban Farms. Well, Joe, who was the New Jersey golf amateur champion for 4 years, and nobody's done it since, he went crazy over paddle tennis.
Okay.
And in 1961, at the Indian Trail Club, they had 8 tennis courts. They were going to build an 18 golf course, whole golf course, built 2 paddle tennis courts. It took off absolutely like wildfire. They now have 8, and poor Joe is no longer with us. But it was a matter of him, this exposure back in the 50s at the Klopman court, that actually prompted him and his brothers to put in paddle tennis Indian Trail Club.
Jolly good. Any other tales?
One of the things I like about it, the paddle, is the gathering right here in this particular paddle hut. The first 4 people who arrive, you don't know who they are, but you play with those. If 3 more showed up, you have a nice bull session here in this paddle hut, and Charles Ames has a lot of jokes. He likes to relate that, and I love this 19th hole here. A lot of fun.
Great. But we have to be very careful because the man who just spoke, he's a pastor, minister. So we have to keep everything above board in here, and we never do anything that would upset him.
Oh, that's a crock.
Lightning is going to demolish.
Here goes the paddle hut.
Please, Lord, forgive me.
Okay, well, why don't we
You better-
take a little break?
Oh, I shouldn't have. I lost it in the sun. Sorry, Charlie. And out. Oh, good sir.
Good get, Larry.
Did, but it was already, well, at that point, it was, my foot was here. Love
I love your favor, not count that. Well, then it's your serve, because I served the first game over there. Exhibition.
Good shot.
Erase that one. I got it. Very well.